It all started as a whisper, a faint disturbance rolling off the coast of West Africa near the Cape Verde Islands. In the vast expanse where the Sahara meets the sea, a cluster of clouds began to swirl, almost unnoticed by the world below. Most of these tropical waves fade away, dissolving quietly into the endless blue. But this one was different. It carried a subtle energy, a hint of persistence that set it apart from the countless others that had come before. Forecasters at the National Hurricane Center flagged it immediately. Warm sea surface temperatures, low wind shear, and a pulse of energy that seemed to defy the odds. Their screens lit up with data, and a sense of anticipation filled the room as they watched the system's every move. This wasn't just another blip on the radar, it was the seed of something much bigger, a potential force of nature gathering strength with every passing hour. As August turned to September, that whisper grew into a roar. The ocean responded, feeding the system with heat and moisture, fueling its rapid transformation. The system organized rapidly, its circulation tightening by the hour. What began as scattered showers soon became a swirling mass, a clear sign that something significant was unfolding over the Atlantic. Satellite imagery revealed a blossoming cluster of thunderstorms, a chaotic dance of moisture and energy. Each cloud tower reaching higher, each lightning flash a signal of growing power. It was named Erin, a gentle name for a storm with fierce intent. The world now had a name to watch, a name that would soon dominate headlines and conversations. The 2025 hurricane season had been quiet, almost eerily so, but Erin was about to change everything. The calm was about to be shattered. Headlines followed before it even became a hurricane, a sign of the drama to come. Meteorologists and journalists alike sensed that Erin was no ordinary storm. On one side of the Atlantic, the Caribbean and U.S. East Coast watched warily, memories of past storms fresh in their minds. Communities began to prepare, uncertain but alert. On the other, Europe was blissfully unaware of the storm's long journey ahead. Life continued as usual with no hint of the distant threat brewing far to the south and west. Europe, more used to gentle fronts than tropical cyclones, was now in the crosshairs. The continent's meteorologists began to take notice, tracking Erin's unusual path with growing concern. The question wasn't just where Erin would go, but what it would become. Would it fizzle out, or would it rewrite the rules of Atlantic storms? Its journey would challenge our understanding of hurricanes and force millions to confront a new climate reality. Scientists debated its origins, its strength, and what it meant for the future of weather on both sides of the ocean. This was more than a weather event. It was a story of power, transformation, and global impact. Erin would leave a mark not just on coastlines but on the way we think about our changing world. From humble beginnings near Africa to a dramatic finale on Europe's doorstep, Erin demanded attention. Its path would be studied for years, a case study in the unexpected. The long, wild ride of Hurricane Erin had begun, and the world was watching, wondering, waiting, and bracing for what was to come. Once Erin had a name, it became more than just a swirl on a weather map. It became a force to be reckoned with, a living entity watched by millions. It wasted no time living up to the hype, quickly gathering strength and momentum as it churned over the open Atlantic. The storm entered what meteorologists call rapid intensification, a technical term for when a hurricane seems to go berserk, growing stronger by the hour. Erin fed on exceptionally warm Atlantic waters, drawing energy from the ocean's heat and exploding from a tropical storm to a formidable Category 2 hurricane in just 24 hours. The transformation was breathtaking, a testament to the raw, untamed power of the ocean and the atmosphere working together. But Erin wasn't finished. It kept climbing, first Category 3, then 4, and finally, the ultimate, Category 5. Each new level brought more intensity, more danger, and more awe. Its eye became a perfectly symmetrical, menacing feature on satellite images, a sign of a storm at the peak of its power. At its peak, Erin's winds screamed at over 160 miles per hour, strong enough to flatten buildings and uproot trees with terrifying ease. The storm stretched for hundreds of miles, a swirling city of wind and rain, dominating the Atlantic and dwarfing everything in its path. The energy released by Erin was staggering, rivaling the power of hundreds of atomic bombs detonated in a single day, a reminder of nature's unmatched fury. Reconnaissance flights bravely flew into the heart of the storm, confirming what satellites had already shown. Erin was one of the most powerful hurricanes ever recorded in the central Atlantic. Thankfully, at its peak, Erin was far from land. a magnificent but isolated monster, spinning alone in the vast ocean. The immediate threat to the Americas faded as the storm curved northward, sparing the coastline from its full wrath. But a storm this powerful doesn't just disappear, its energy had to go somewhere, dispersing into the atmosphere and altering weather patterns far beyond its reach. The question was no longer if it would hit the US, but where this colossal storm would go next: Europe, the Arctic, or simply fade into the Atlantic's memory. The world watched, waiting for Erin's next move, captivated by the spectacle and reminded of the awesome power of nature. As Erin moved north, it began a journey few hurricanes ever complete. It missed the Caribbean and North America, veering into the North Atlantic, usually a graveyard for storms. Most hurricanes die here, but Erin was different. It carried immense energy and momentum from its Category 5 peak. For days it dominated weather maps, even bending the jet stream. Forecast models showed something extraordinary. Erin would maintain its strength far longer than normal. It was on a collision course not with land, but with the very definition of what a hurricane could be. Erin refused to die, holding onto its warm core and cyclonic spin. The focus shifted from the Americas to Europe, Ireland, the UK, Portugal. Erin's long march was a slow-motion disaster heading for a continent unprepared for what was coming. As Erin entered the frigid waters of the North Atlantic, it began a remarkable transformation, what meteorologists call an extratropical transition. This process is one of nature's most dramatic weather shifts, where a hurricane loses its tropical characteristics and takes on a new identity. Hurricanes are powered by the heat and moisture of warm ocean waters, but extratropical cyclones draw their energy from the collision of warm and cold air masses. This fundamental change in energy source alters the storm's structure and behavior, making it more unpredictable and often more expansive. Erin became a meteorological hybrid, merging with a powerful mid-latitude system to create an even larger and more formidable storm. This merger amplified its strength and reach, making it a force to be reckoned with. Its wind field expanded dramatically, stretching out to cover hundreds of miles in every direction. What was once a compact hurricane now sprawled across a vast expanse of ocean and sky. No longer a tightly wound hurricane, Erin became a sprawling post-tropical cyclone, its core less defined but its reach far greater. The threat changed dramatically. Instead of a small area of intense winds, Erin now posed widespread danger. High winds, relentless rain, and coastal flooding threatened communities over a much larger area. The term post-tropical can be misleading. The storm was just as dangerous, if not more so, than when it was a hurricane. Its new form brought hazards that were harder to predict and defend against. Erin was a zombie storm, refusing to die, transforming into something more complex and far-reaching. It lingered over the ocean, gathering strength and evolving, defying expectations. Its transition set the stage for an unprecedented weather event for Western Europe, a region unaccustomed to storms of this magnitude and origin. The impacts would be felt over a vast area, not just a single coastline. Entire countries prepared for the onslaught, knowing the storm's reach would be historic. Meteorologists watched in awe and concern as Erin rewrote the rules of what a storm could do, challenging their forecasts and understanding. Europe braced for a storm unlike any in living memory, with communities scrambling to prepare for the unknown. The stage was set for disaster as Erin's transformation threatened to leave a lasting mark on history. Once Erin completed its transition, the threat to Europe became real. Weather services from Lisbon to Dublin issued urgent warnings. This was no ordinary autumn storm. Erin carried tropical moisture and unprecedented energy into the eastern Atlantic. Forecasters warned of monstrous waves, coastal flooding, and hurricane-force gusts. Portugal, Spain, Ireland, and the UK braced for a historic event. Emergency services were on high alert, ferries cancelled, fishermen grounded. The storm's massive size meant its effects would last for days. Heavy rain, powerful winds, and saturated ground raising the risk of flooding and landslides. The psychological impact was huge. Europe had never seen a storm like this. The days before Erin's arrival were filled with anxiety, preparation, and fascination. An entire continent watched as a storm for the ages approached. Portugal's west coast, famous for big-wave surfing, was first to feel Erin's power. The storm, still far out to sea, generated some of the largest waves ever recorded outside winter. Swells over 50 feet crashed ashore, amplified by underwater canyons. For daredevil surfers, it was the challenge of a lifetime. For everyone else, a sign of danger. Waves flooded promenades, eroded shorelines, and caused severe coastal flooding. Salt water inundated streets, damaged homes, and tossed cars. The scenes from Portugal were broadcast worldwide, a stark warning of Erin's energy. Even at a distance, the storm wreaked havoc, serving as a wake-up call for Ireland and the UK. The monster waves were a beautiful, terrifying, and destructive herald of Erin's arrival. As Erin's remnants swept north, Ireland was in the firing line. Met Erin issued its highest warning. The country hunkered down. Winds over 100 miles per hour battered the coast, toppling trees and power lines. Hundreds of thousands lost power. Flash flooding followed torrential rain. For Ireland, it was one of the most powerful storms in memory. Across the Irish Sea, the UK faced a different threat, record-breaking rainfall. Rivers burst their banks, flooding towns and villages. Meanwhile, southeastern England and France experienced a bizarre heat wave, dragged north by Erin's tropical air. One part of Europe was battered by wind and rain, another basked in unseasonal warmth. Erin's complexity showed just how far-reaching a storm's impacts can be. Hurricane Erin showed how interconnected our global weather system is. Born off Africa, it sent ripples across the northern hemisphere. Erin's power altered the jet stream, steering itself toward Europe and changing weather patterns in North America. While Europe battled wind and rain, the US and Canada saw calm, cool weather in the storm's wake. This teleconnection is a key part of our climate system. Erin's energy was redistributed, causing warmth in France, flooding in the UK, and cool spells in North America. The storm forced us to see the Atlantic as a conduit, not a barrier. Erin's ripple effect was a stark reminder: in weather, everything is connected. Hurricane Erin's wild ride was more than a weather event. It was a warning. The ingredients that made Erin so powerful, warm oceans, favorable atmosphere, are becoming more common with climate change. Erin may be fictional, but the science is real. Europe's sense of security is challenged. The hurricane graveyard may become a place of transformation. More hybrid storms could make the transatlantic journey, bringing hurricane-like impacts to unprepared regions. This demands a shift in how we assess risk and prepare for extreme weather. Erin's story is about vulnerability and resilience, exposing weaknesses, but also showing the strength of forecasters, responders, and communities. The question Erin leaves us: will we learn from its journey? Will we prepare for a future where storms like this are the new norm? The next chapter is up to us.